Service, and our conversation this morning is brought to you by Marcus & Mack, voted best personal injury law firm in the Best of Indiana County contest. Marcus & Mack, a law firm representing injured people. Good morning.
Good morning.
If you'd like to call Bob and ask him a question, 479-1160 or 349-WCCS, he'll be happy to take a shot at it and see what he can do for you. I saw a TV report last night that now's a good time to go out and look for the egg masses for the spotted lanternfly.
That's true. They've been there all winter,
Mm-hmm.
and you could have seen them earlier, but sometimes in the winter we tend not to walk around the garden too much, or the property, and so now as spring's starting to slowly appear, good time to get out and look around for things, and those egg masses, and if you had some of them last year, then you can, there's a good chance that there will be egg masses around. And they can lay those egg masses on anything. They don't have to be on plant material. They don't have to be on tree trunks. They can be on vehicles, buildings, all kind of stuff. So just start to look around for those and remove them. And that's the key thing why you want to go out and look for them, is because you can remove them now before there's eggs in there, and we don't want the eggs to hatch. Because the eggs will turn into those creatures that will run around and feed on plants. They are sap feeders, so they're going to stick their mouth parts into the plant and remove plant sap. And in the process of doing that over the summer months, they will molt several times until they become pupate and then turn into adult moths. But the younger stage has some different color variations, red and black, and they're a small beetle, and they'll feed, and then they don't use all the sugars from that sap that they absorb, and so that gets passed through their bodies and becomes what we call honeydew or excrement, as the case may be. And that sugary substance will get spilled on everything, and can make it very difficult to, as they've found out farther east from here, very difficult to go outside and do anything in the summer. So because it puts that sap over everything, and then black sooty mold, there are molds that grow and they need that sugar as their food resource. So then everything becomes black and dark and ugly and sticky, and it's a mess. So the more we can do now to remove those egg masses, that will help reduce the population this summer.
Almost all of southern, really, Pennsylvania is included in the map now of quarantined counties for 2023, including Indiana County, Armstrong, Cambria, Westmoreland. Practically everybody around us. Jefferson is not there yet, but it's right on the border of us, so one can assume that's going to happen. Has it been seen a lot in Indiana County? Sometimes
not really, not yet.
How did Indiana County end up on that map?
Because there was
one or two
evidence,
little bugs.
So it could have been, it could have been the adult moth. It could have been an egg mass. That's all it takes to trigger. Just one of those life stages actually found and identified that triggered the quarantine, and Indiana County being part of that. And that's been 2 years ago now. Yeah.
All right. So it used to be,
and it was late in the year 2 years ago when it was found.
Yeah.
And then last year we were in there for a full year.
Used to be you could actually just follow the map by following the turnpike. It's true. And the counties where the turnpike,
but
which tells you how it is that it actually gets around.
Right.
It latches onto vehicles.
Transportation, one way or another.
All right, so there you go. The spotted lanternfly. It's out there. Amish have been working up the fields. And the plows have been turning over the dirt. People are getting anxious. But it's more wintry now than it has been all winter.
Yeah, we kind of flopped. February was March, and March is February.
Yeah, yeah, and that's happened in the past.
But
couple
when
of
you
years
get
as
those, but it's, there's fields and there's soil types that are dry enough and have been dry enough that you can get in to work those fields. And you kind of have to do that when the opportunity presents itself, because we don't know what's going to happen. We can't assume that March is going to be nicer than February, even though we would like it to be. And the same thing with April.
If April's all showery,
yeah,
then we don't have those
stays
fields
wet.
turned over.
It might be warmer, but if it's wet, then that presents a problem for getting the soil worked, and then that delays everything.
Yeah.
And then you get bunched up, and then you have to do 20 things at once, which is normal anyway, to
Plus,
try to get ready to
If
to
you
plant.
are actually plowing a field right now, then it gives the rain a little bit of time to work on the clumps that you turn over and turn them into better dirt.
Yes, so if that field was a sod or it had not been plowed in a while, turning that over, and the soil type influences that too, as to how many clods and things, and your management of that soil over time also influences that. If we have a lot of fine textured particles there, those tend to ball up and be in clumps, versus a field that's been in sod for a number of years. It might have been a pasture, it may have been a hay field, or just in a cover crop, which to build that soil up or to hold the soil in place. Then when you turn that over, that has a whole network of organisms in there, and earthworms and roots of plants that help keep that more open, more friable. And so then when you turn that over, it's easier then for it to fall apart.
Well, does that translate then to somebody who wants to turn over a new plot of ground for their home garden? Should we be working on that right about now too, under the same philosophy?
Right. Yeah. If the conditions are good enough, dry enough that you can work that soil. Now, in the home garden, it can be a little easier because we might just be using a shovel to turn that over. So you have a little bit more flexibility there versus having equipment in there that has weight to it, can cause more compaction, although we ourselves can cause compaction. We can if we walk in the same path every day, we'll make a path and we'll cause compaction in that place, and the grass will grow on either side of it and not in the path. So we have to be a little mindful of that. But otherwise, yeah, we can get in there and turn that over and at least get it started, so that'll make it easier. And again, you're right. So most likely we're going to have some freezing and thawing for a little while yet. And so when that soil's turned over, then that allows that to expand and contract, break that up, and it'll be easier then when planting time comes to get a final grade on there, loosen it up, smooth it out, so that we have a good planting bed.
March 10th, is that too soon to be pruning the grapevines and getting them ready to go?
No, especially not on hardy grapes. The Concord grapes, probably the most common around. They're a pretty hardy lot, and they'll take that. I had to go up to Erie a week ago, and a lot of their prunings, it's already done.
Oh, yeah?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Yep.
So if they can do it,
Yes.
we certainly can.
Yeah. They sometimes get the lake effect, but there was not a stitch of snow up there a week ago.
All right, so there you go. You can get to work on your grapes, and of course other bushes and things
fruit
as well.
trees and things. There's buds starting to swell a little bit and push, and as long as the weather stays reasonable, they'll probably be okay through that. And we've talked before about when those buds start to swell, then they lose some of their hardiness, and then if we get a real cold snap, that can damage that tissue. And so then those leaves might not come out, or the flower buds, that if it's a flowering plant, when the flowers come out, that tissue might have been damaged, and so we may not have as full of bloom. But right now things are they're hanging in there in good shape, and it'll just be whether we have an extreme or not to affect that as we go along.
All righty. There you go. He's Bob Pollock from the Extension Service. Thank you, sir.
You're welcome. Thank you.
It is the voice of Indiana County, WCCS 101.1 FM and AM 1160.